Good day. I am Dr. Yan Reyes. I am a pediatric infectious diseases specialist, and I am the chair of the Infection Prevention and Control of the Dasmariñas City Medical Center, South Imus Specialist Hospital, and Medical Center Imus. During my rounds, a lot of doctors and some nurses and midwives ask me, Doc, magpapa-COVID vaccine ka ba? I always ask them, why? Because they said that they are scared, so they're also asking me if I'm scared or not. So I made a survey of all the healthcare workers in our hospital and asked if are they ready for the COVID vaccine. And this is the result of the survey. So if you can see here, 32.6% strongly disagree for the COVID vaccination. 19.09% disagree. So that makes a total of 51% disagree for COVID-19 vaccination. And these are healthcare workers. In another hospital, out of 303 employees, only 12 refused COVID-19 vaccination. Most of the time, their reasons are they are so scared of the adverse event following immunization, and they are also scared because of the expedite process in procuring the vaccine. So before we talk about it, let us first talk about vaccines. So what is a vaccine? A vaccine is an antigenic substance prepared from a causative agent of a disease or a synthetic substitute used to provide immunity against one or several diseases. In simple terms, a vaccine is made from very small amounts of weak or dead germs, and they are called antigens that cause diseases. Like, for example, the chickenpox vaccine is made up of weak or dead chickenpox organisms, and these organisms are called antigens. These antigens are placed in a vaccine. So your body will produce an antibody or the soldiers to fight the antigen, to fight the disease faster and more effectively so you won't get sick. So, for example, if you talk about the chickenpox, there's a weak or dead chickenpox virus, and they are called antigens and they are placed inside the vaccine. So, if the shape is like this, your body will recognize that this is a chickenpox virus, and then your body will form antibodies. So, the antibodies will kill the antigen or the chickenpox antigen that is injected into your body. In other words, this is the difference between disease versus vaccination. When you have those pathogen, like for example, the chickenpox, you can have an infection or you can have the disease itself. You will have rashes all over your body. And then, pagkatapos ng rashes na yon, pwede kang magkakaroon ng complications like encephalitis, or chickenpox encephalitis, or pwede kang magkaka-complications ng skin lesions kasi sometimes yung chickenpox, pag nagko-complicate, nagkakaroon ng mga pigsa-pigsa. So, pero magkakaroon ka ng immune response. Most of the time, hindi ka na magkaka-chickenpox kasi nagkaroon ka na ng bulutong eh. Pwede na ba siya magkaroon ng cure or protection? Pwede kang gagaling at magkaroon ka na ng antibody. Or pwede ka rin magkakaroon ng complications, as I mentioned, encephalitis or iba, meron ding namamatay dahil sa chickenpox. Pag nagkaka-severe infection sila, nagkaka-sepsis. Whereas, kung mabigyan ka ng chickenpox vaccine, binibigyan ka na ng dead viruses or live attenuated viruses, binigyan ka na ng chickenpox antigen. Magkakaroon ka ng immune response, magpo-form ka ng antibody, and kung ma, ma-expose ka sa chickenpox, meron ka ng protection. Hindi ka na magkakaroon ng bulutong. So maraming tao dyan na hindi talaga bulutong kasi nabigyan sila ng chickenpox vaccine. Yun yung importance ng vaccine. So, paano ba ginagawa ang vaccine? So, R&D or research and development of vaccines is too slow and the failure rate is too high. Regularly, meron pa yung exploratory to candidate selection, may clinical trial, at may phases pa yan. Usually, mga 8 to 10 years bago matapos ang isang vaccine. Sometimes nga, 9 to 115 years like the malaria vaccine, hindi pa siya na-perfect. So, ongoing pa rin yung paggawa ng vaccine yun. So, sa paggawa ng vaccine, merong mga preclinical trial. Yun yung phases pa. So, nag-discovery muna and early development. They will look for the antigen, hanapin nila yung antigen. Tapos merong early process development. Tapos magkakaroon pa ng mga analytical assays sa laboratory to. Tapos serologic assays and diagnostic assays. So marami pa yung gagawin sa laboratory para sa preclinical trial. Pagpasok mo ng phase 1, yun. First tested in humans, pero few humans pa lang to. Tapos i-check kung safe ba siya, tsaka kung immunogenic ba siya. Usually yung phase na yan, aabot yan mga 2 to 3 years. Pagkatapos ng phase 1, meron pang phase 2, check yung dosage, dose level and formulation finding. So mas maraming tao na naman yung volunteers na ginagamit nito. So i-check pa yung processes and assays before maging finalize siya. Pagkatapos ng phase 2, meron pang phase 3. Doon na yung tinatawag na efficacy testing. So ano yung efficacy testing? Yun yung magte-test ka ng mga human volunteers in a controlled environment. So usually, walang mga sakit yung mga tao na yon. Tapos pag na-vaccine sila, meron silang diary, i-check kung may fever, may cough and colds. Tapos most of the time, monitored sila ng doctor nila. Yun yung controlled environment. Tapos the final processes are defined, and then the analytical and serological diagnostics tests are validated. Phase 3 na yon. So, ganun siya kahaba. After ng phase 3, yun na yung licensure. Pagkatapos siya ma-license, meron pang post-marketing commitments. Like for example, i-check pa kung may adverse events yan pagkatapos ng licensure. So, ganun katagal ang paggawa ng vaccine. Kaya lang with COVID vaccine, napapabili siya kasi ginagamitan na siya ng EUA. So, ano ibig sabihin ng EUA? Emergency Use Authorization. It is an authorization granted through a risk-based procedure for assessing unregistered vaccines or drugs during public health emergencies of international concern. So dahil nga meron tayong COVID pandemic, ang dami-dami ng namamatay at saka ang dami-dami ng millions of persons ang nai-infect ng COVID. So, public health emergency na siya kasi pandemic na siya. And this emergency use authorization, EUA, it aims to expedite, so papabilis, ang availability of the vaccine or drug to people affected by public health emergency based on essential set of available quality, safety, and efficacy performance data. So hindi nasisira pa rin yung quality, safety, and efficacy performance data. Lahat pa rin ng phases of vaccine development ay sinusunod. Kaya lang expedite siya, mas pinapabilis. So how do COVID vaccines work? So di ba sinasabi natin? So para magkaroon ka ng vaccine, gagamit tayo ng antigen. So kumukuha sila ng antigen. Pero maraming vaccines, ang COVID vaccines na ginagawa, more than 200. So, pero yung mga major, gumagamit sila ng antigen. Number one, pwede itong inactivated or weakened virus vaccine. So, wini-weaken nila yung virus. This uses a form of virus that has been inactivated or weakened. So, pinapahina yung virus. So, it doesn't cause disease. Hindi siya magkakaroon ng sakit. But still generates an immune response. Dahil antigen siya, mag-form pa rin tayo ng antibody. Kahit na weakened virus siya. Virus-like lang siya. So, pwede din siyang protein-based vaccines. They use harmless fragments of proteins or protein shells. So, kumukuha lang sila ng protein sa virus na yon that mimic the COVID-19 virus to safely generate an immune response. So, itong proteins na yon, ito yung ginagamit na antigen para magpo-produce tayo ng antibody. Meron din gumagamit ng viral vector vaccines. So, they use a virus that has been genetically engineered so that it can't cause disease but produces coronavirus proteins to safely generate an immune response. So meron silang vector na ginagamit, meron silang vehicle na ginagamit na nakikisakay lang yung coronavirus proteins. So ito naman, RNA and DNA vaccines. So it is a cutting-edge approach that uses genetically engineered RNA or DNA to generate a protein that itself safely prompts an immune response. So gumagamit sila ng RNA, tapos yung RNA na yon, siya yung nagtuturo sa immune system para mag-produce tayo ng antibodies. So ano na yung mga regular na vaccines na available na? So meron gumagamit ng mRNA, itong mRNA 1273, ito yung brand. So ginagamit siya 2 doses, 28 days apart. mRNA yung ginagamit niyang antigen. And also this one available this will be available also BNT162B2. This one, this is also available and it is FDA approved already. This one naman, this BNT162B2, this vaccine, they usually give it 2 doses, 21 days apart. So two times tayo makakatanggap, 21 days apart. The other one, the CHADOX1 and COVID-19, this is from AstraZeneca. So they are also FDA approved, and the dose and frequency 2 doses, 6 to 12 weeks apart. Ito namang storage requirements na to, most of them are very, very delicate. So, dapat nakastore sila sa proper refrigerator. And these are taken care of by the vaccinators themselves. So, they make sure na yung storage niya ay hindi makakasira sa efficacy ng vaccine. And this is also taken care of by our government. So, ang vaccine efficacy for this one is 95%. And the vaccine efficacy for mRNA 1273 is 94%. And the vaccine efficacy for this one, the non-replicating viral vector, ito ang kanyang antigen na ginagamit, they have an efficacy of 70.4%. So ano yung mga regular adverse events? So marami nang na-injectionan worldwide. Like for example, sister ko in the US, mga nurses sila, na-injectionan sila. Then a lot of my classmates na doctors na-injectionan sila. So yung mga regular na nako-complain, and as also seen in the journals, mayroong pain on injection site, nagfa-fatigue, headache, fever, and sometimes ang iba, nag-lymphadenopathy. So across these vaccines na WHO approved, almost the same ang kanilang adverse events. Pain on injection site, headache, fatigue. Most of the time, paracetamol in one day, gumagaling naman sila. But if ever you'll have adverse events from these vaccines, you should consult your doctor or inform your infection prevention and control nurse or inform the barangay health workers. Because whatever will happen to you, if you have any other symptoms, it will be monitored. Kasi as discussed, there is always post-marketing surveillance. So these are the other vaccines. Ang ginagamit nilang antigen are RNA. Gumagamit ito ng inactivated vaccine. So ini-weaken, ini-inactivate yung virus. And then this one, they use the non-replicating viral vector. So gumagamit sila ng vector. So, ano yung project ng DOH natin? So, this is from the DOH slide. So, their primary goal is direct reduction of morbidity and mortality and the maintenance of most critical essential services. So, they have to vaccinate the frontline health workers. Who are they? So, the public and private health facilities, doctors, nurses, midwives, the public health workers, yung nasa rural health unit, ng mga nasa City Health Office, and then the LGU, Local Government Unit Contact Tracers, the Barangay Health Workers, the NGAs, the DSWD, the DepEd, DILG. And then their secondary goal is the substantial control of transmission para hindi siya matatransmit. And then minimize the disruption of social, economic, and security functions. So most of the time, studies have shown na mostly senior citizen yung mga nadadali. So they will plan to vaccinate the indigent senior citizens, the remaining senior citizens, and the remaining indigent population. And their tertiary goal is the resumption to near normal. And then after that, they will vaccinate the uniformed personnel. Mga PNP, mga police, mga AFP, mga CAFGU, sila na yung next. So who can get the vaccine? So who should be evaluated before vaccination? So this is an infographic from the Philippine Society of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology. So those who have immediate allergic reaction to any other vaccines and injected medicines, you have to refer to allergologists. And then they said that patients should be observed for at least 30 minutes after the vaccination. So who can get the vaccine? So as mentioned, yun yung mga healthcare workers. So sino sa kanila? So it's stated here from the Philippine Society of Allergy and Immunology that those with history of allergy to food, airborne allergens, insects, latex, rubber, and medicines not related to vaccine and its components, pwede sila mabigyan ng vaccine. So even if they have well-controlled bronchial asthma and allergic rhinitis, pwede din sila mabigyan. And those with immunodeficiency and autoimmune disease can be given with precautions. Dapat meron silang doctor's clearance. So who should not get the COVID vaccine? Ito lang ang major contraindication. Kung sino yung may immediate allergic reaction to the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. Kung meron kang immediate allergic reaction, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-first dose. Or kung sino yung may allergic reactions to COVID-19 vaccine components, such as the polyethylene glycol, the PEG. Yung PEG, yung ginagamit sa laxatives, yung ginagamit din sa mga radiologic procedures. Pag nagkaka-allergy ka sa laxative, so be careful kasi may allergy ka sa PEG, you have to get clearance kung kailangan mo talaga. And those who have allergy to polysorbate, like surgical gels. So, remember, ang sino lang yung hindi makakatanggap? Number one, immediate allergic reaction to first dose, and those with allergic reaction to its components, like the polyethylene glycol and the polysorbate. Okay? So, kabado ka ba? Ano ang dapat mong malaman? So, this is also from the PISAI. So, they said na mas nakakahigit ang benepisyo na mabigyan ng proteksyon sa pamamagitan ng bakuna kaysa sa panganib na may dulot nito. Ibig sabihin, mas maraming benefits ang makukuha natin kasi hindi ka na magkaka-COVID, posibleng hindi ka na magkaka-COVID, or kung asymptomatic ka man na may COVID ka, hindi ka na makakahawa sa kapwa, especially pag meron kang mga senior citizen na kasama mo, common sa Filipinos, kasama natin yung mga parents natin, mga lolo, mga lola. So, mas mataas yung benefits kung magpapavaksin ka kesa hindi ka magpapavaksin. So, ito po yung ginagawa ng DOH. So, this is the regular situation whenever you will have your vaccination. There is this waiting area. So, dito nililist kung sino yung mauunang bakunahan. Pangalawa, registration area. Ito yung QR and data system. So, as healthcare workers in our hospital, meron na tayong QR code, di ba? So, QR code natin, nag-sign na tayo ng name natin, kung may allergy ba tayo, kung meron bang diabetes, hypertension, o kaya may immunocompromised ba tayo? So, meron na tayong na-sign on. So, nandun na siya sa QR code natin. So, this is still a reinforcement of our QR and data system. After that, meron pang counseling and final consent. So, magsasign pa rin tayo ng consent. Tapos, isi-screen ka na. Pagkatapos, kukunin yung blood pressure, kunin yung temperature, yung mag-physical exam, i-check yung lungs, yung heart, tapos yung present history. Tatanong mo kung may lagnat ka ba sa araw na yon or meron ka bang other symptoms. Pagkatapos nun, pag cleared ka na, tsaka na ka na vaccine. So usually ang pag-vaccinate nun, mga 1 to 2 minutes naman, isang tusok lang naman yon, tapos na naman yon. So ang pinaka-importante, after your vaccination, dapat magsistay ka sa vaccination area for 30 minutes to 1 hour. Kasi doon yung i-check kung may adverse reaction ka ba, kung mag-allergy ka ba or hindi. So, pag tatanungin ako kung magpapavaksin ba ako, yes, magpapavaksin ako. Pagdating ng vaccine, dapat magkita-kita tayo kasi kailangan natin magpavaksin kasi this is one of the ways para matapos na yung pandemic na to. So aside from that, even if magpavaksin tayo, we still have to make sure that we'll have those safety precautions. So wear mask pa rin, wear face shield as much as possible, 1 meter pa rin yung distancing natin. Tapos, don't always wash your hands, so you know the proper hand washing. And be sure not to place your hands in your eyes, in your nose, in your mouth. So, be safe everyone. And I really hope na magpapabakuna tayo, especially all healthcare workers, mga kasama ko sa hospital. So, I hope na mag-i-increase na yung magpapa-yes to vaccination because kailangan na kailangan natin to. Thank you so much for listening, and please share this to our other healthcare workers so that they will also understand vaccination and they will know the adverse effects at para hindi na sila masyadong kabado. So, Mga kababayan, magpabakuna po tayo. This is Dr. Yan Reyes. Thank you for listening.